trying to remember when I last put up a video. I want to say it was, I don't remember. I really should have looked at that. So I uploaded my last video the morning of July 7th. And then I planned on vlogging again for the following week. So I go home, get some sleep, wake up. Madness and chaos had ensued during my nap. So my husband's uncle passed away. No, that hadn't happened yet. It did happen, but I'll get there. One of his other uncles is very sick. He can't work anymore. He's waiting on a liver transplant. And so since he can't work, him and his wife are moving in with his sister, which, with the uncle's sister, my husband's aunt, because she recently lost her husband, so she's living alone. I mean, and when I say recently, I mean, I talked about his Uncle Kenneth's funeral, end of May. Yeah, end of May. We went to reunion. When we got back, I guess it wasn't even a week, and Diana's husband, David, passed away. And now Tony's sick. So anyways, they're moving in. They called and asked my husband if he could help them move stuff. So he spent all day doing that before work. Then they asked us if we wanted to take their fish. And my husband, up until this point, had been like, no, we don't need any more pets, especially not fish. But in this situation, he decided that we'll take the fish. And now Ryan has fish. Well, he does now. His aunt that we were getting the fish from lived 3 houses down, or his uncle. His aunt and uncle. 3 houses down. But because the fish tank is heavy, we were taking the truck to go 3 houses down. But that means I wasn't planning on loading up the kids to go. We were just going to leave them at the house 3 doors down. Judge me if you want. I feel like at 8 and 10 years old, if they can handle it for 15 minutes. So, right before I decided to go over there, I asked my son to take out the garbage. And so you go behind our house and into the alleyway, and then the dumpster is along the fence line on the other side of the alley. Flies. So along this fence, or the fence that the dumpster is against, there's a dog that lives there. And it's one of those dogs that, you know, when you walk by, it barks and snarls and jumps towards you, because it was also tied up on a chain inside a chain link fence. So he went to go throw the trash away. I was just, and we were figuring out the window thing. I think I told y'all my windows were rolling themselves down. Well, I was trying to show my husband what I was talking about, because it had rained. My windows rolled down shortly after I got home yesterday, even though I tried to get the keys as far away from the truck as possible. And it rained, so then I had to make sure all my cross-stitching was okay, because it was all sitting in the back seat. It's fine. Thank you for these plastic, yeah. So, we're talking about that. We take the key fob. I'm not a cross stitcher. Take the key fob apart, and take out the battery. And then miraculously, ever since, my windows have not rolled down on their own. So we're standing there and we're about to get in the truck to go 3 houses down, and my son comes running out the front door, squealing, like, not crying, but like freaking out. You know, that, and his finger's bleeding, and he's holding it like this. His finger's bleeding. And he has cut himself taking out the trash before. And so, like, you know, if there's something in the bag that's sharp, you know, when he pushes it into the dumpster, sometimes it catches him. So I walk over. I'm not lollygagging like I am with the story. Okay, so I'm like, oh my goodness, he's bleeding really good, right? So I run over there and I look at his finger and I go, oh, part of his finger is missing. And I freaked. And I know some people are faint-hearted, so if you can handle it, there will be a picture at the very end of what it looked like once it was cleaned up. But, like, about halfway down his nail, okay, the nail was still there, but halfway down, this part of his finger was gone. And oh my gosh. So I run in the front door, grab a towel, wrap it around his finger, throw him in the truck, and I'm yelling, screaming at my daughter, come on, come on, come on. Remember, I'm supposed to be heading to work in like 30 minutes. And I rush him to the ER. I mean, I didn't stop at the red light. I sped through town, hazards on. I didn't care. I've never been in this situation before. I think my baby's dying. So, I asked him as we're driving, I'm like, what happened? He said the dog pushed through the fence and got me. And I was like, what? Later on, when we were able to get a pretty decent picture of what happened, so instead of walking past the dumpster to go to the front of the dumpster, he was in a hurry wanting to get stuff done. And so he came up to the side of the dumpster. So, like, this is the front of the dumpster. He went from over here. And remember, there's this chain link fence back here, and there's a dog. Well, the dog's typically tied up. So, him throwing the dumpster throwing the trash in the dumpster from the side wouldn't have been a big deal, because it's at the very corner of this guy's property, and the dog can't reach that far. But apparently, he recently did some renovations to the fence, and when he did, he decided it was safe enough to let the dog off the chain link fence. So, my son pushes the trash over, and as he goes to turn to walk back towards the house, you know how, I mean, you go from lifting something up, and you're coming down, you're swinging your arm, plus it's coming at an angle. It got a little too close to the fence, and this dog was able to jump up on the chain link and push it just enough to bite his finger. And, of course, my son panicked and yanked. So, oh my goodness, it was horrible. So, and we live in a small town. And that aside, the area that we live in, even with the big city nearby, doesn't have a lot in the way of doctors and specialists, things like that. We drive all the way to Houston for most of Ryan's medical issues, which is an 8.5-hour drive. So we take him to our local ER. They get it clean. They measure it. They take x-rays. It barely missed the bone. He said there's a super thin piece of fat that if you were to just kind of lift it up, you would be able to see the bone, but it did miss it. He said, but because of the situation, and because even if he sent us into the city, which is, 52 miles, they would not do anything for my son because he is young, because they don't have the resources. So he sent us to Lubbock. Lubbock is a 3-hour drive from where I live. Didn't care, got in the truck, went to Lubbock. He said 3 options. They could do nothing. They could take a skin graft from like his thigh and then put it over it. Or they could like grind the bone down and then fold what skin he has left over. Which sounded really bad to me. But anyways, we get to Lubbock and they decide because the bone is not exposed to just let it heal. Which was a little frustrating when you drive 3 hours and, wait two more hours. Not in the waiting room. We got out of the waiting room in like 20 minutes. But, once we were in a room, it took a while for the hand specialist to be available. And he came in and basically told us, there's nothing we're going to do. We're going to put a bandage on it and we're going to send you home. And antibiotics, lots of antibiotics. So I understand that it was better to see the specialist rather than just, going based on a general doctor. No less frustrating, because then we had to drive another 3 hours home. On top of that, my son hadn't eaten yet for whatever reason, and none of us had eaten yet because me and my husband had just woke up from work. Well, I just woke up. He had been busy. Nobody had eaten. And then they told him he couldn't eat in case the surgeon wanted to do surgery as soon as we got there. So, hold please. I'm going to have to edit this ding out. Okay, so hopefully I edited that out. I hope. Because it's kind of a loud ding. So none of us had eaten. They said he may need to have surgery, so they didn't want him to eat. So we're all starving. By the time we get done with the round of IV antibiotics they wanted to do and having to wait on the pharmacy, you know how an ER goes. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, 12 hours after all of this had happened, not to mention, an entire day since my son had last eaten. And we finally got to go eat and then drive 3 hours home. I don't even know what to say about my son. He is so resilient, so positive. Like, he gets upset in the moment, I guess, a little, and then he just moves on, and he doesn't even care. So, at one point when we were in the ER, he was up and playing. They had blown up a glove, and they were bouncing around like a balloon, and, my daughter laid down in his bed and was like, I'm going to pretend to be Ryan. And he was like, we're going to have to take off a chunk of your finger first. So he was making jokes about it not even a few hours after it happened. And he's in no pain. It's healing pretty good. And it's completely scabbed over now. It will not, this finger is not going to look like this finger anymore. It's going to kind of go like this. But anyways. And he just realized this, yesterday, and now he's a little embarrassed to go to school, but he thought it was all going to grow back like, a superhero. Anyway, so that was my Saturday. Obviously, no stitching done. I did get the one stitch I needed for my Heaven and Earth design in while we were in the waiting room, but I was too, I can't even sit when stuff like that goes on. I was pacing the room, and so came back to work on Sunday. I'm trying to think of what day. The 10th. So the 10th was, just really have a calendar, Tuesday. So I came back to work. I started to vlog. Something about it, I didn't really like how it was turning out. So I was like, okay, so on Wednesday, I'm just going to film a video. Tuesday, the phone rings. My husband's uncle has passed away. And, this one we were a little better prepared for because he was diagnosed with cancer 4 years ago. It was large and wrapped around his heart. They didn't think he'd survive that first surgery. He did. He went into complete remission. And this last time when it came back with a vengeance in his brain and his spine. And they did surgery. Never quite came back after the surgery. That was right around the time I left for StitchCon. And he passed away that morning. So family handled that a little bit better than, if it had been a surprise. So Wednesday, we ended up having to do something, and I was gone most of the day. And then Thursday, we spent the whole entire day with family. And Friday was the actual funeral. So at that point, I still hadn't recorded anything, and I really didn't. And then shortly after that, at this point, I've stitched so little that I had maybe 4 projects to show you. So then I was like, oh, well, I'll wait a couple days. And then at that point, it was like Wednesday is going to be here before you know it. I got to backtrack here in a second. So I decided to wait. Long story short. So it was a crappy week. Also, so Saturday the 7th, dog bite. Tuesday, that's what it was, Wednesday, we had to go out of town because we were meeting with Ryan's new oral surgeon in San Antonio, and so it's a 4-hour drive there. The appointment actually went kind of fast, but then we lollygagged, and by the time I got home, it was 4 in the afternoon, and we went to sleep. We were so tired, and so took a little nap, and then it was, you know, cleaning and diamond painting and that sort of thing. So, new oral surgeon. Again, this is because the guy that diagnosed him with the OKC tumors is a private practice, and so therefore Medicaid doesn't really pay him enough to warrant him doing the surgery. He tried to refer me to someone else. They didn't take our insurance. We went through all this hoopla. I called around. After that, I was like, I'll just go wherever I gotta go. So I called San Antonio. They said they take his insurance. They said they could see him. His appointment was Wednesday. At first, this doctor didn't seem to want to believe us. And I don't hold it against him. I really do like the guy. But when I told him he had 2 OKC tumors, one in each of his jaws, he's like, maybe one of them's not a tumor. So, because I showed him the scans, and the biopsy results they sent me only talked about the left side. It didn't talk about the right. So, he was like, maybe, definitely the left side's a tumor. I've got the biopsy results, but maybe because they didn't send the right because it wasn't. I said, okay, here's what I was told. Both are OKC tumors. And before I got to that, he said, let me research and see if there's ever even been a case of 2 bilateral OKC tumors in a child of his age. And I said, well, the doctor said that that he possibly has Gorlin syndrome. And he said, okay, well, in that case, it does make sense. So then, because he was like going to put off either getting another biopsy or trying to get the results for the right side, like, and so then he said, let me go ahead and do a scan. I said I was kind of hoping, because last summer there was nothing. By December, we had something noticeable enough to send us to a specialist. By April, it was large. It has grown extensively since April, which was our last scan. So he said that there's now another option that, and he doesn't know, he won't know for sure until he gets in there and sees the tumor. But he said either he'll just scoop it out, and when he does, he's going to have to take anything that touches it because, you know, to decrease our chance of recurrence. Even though, even doing that, this is something we have to keep an eye on for 30 years to make sure it doesn't come back. Because they have case studies as far out as 30 years of somebody's tumor regrowing. He said, or if it's too big for me to scoop out with it without any permanent damage, you know, like an incision that won't close, or, you know, whatever. He didn't go into specifics. This is my mind going. He said that he would put a port in it, into the tumor, and I would have to flush it out twice a day for a month. I really hope that's not the case. Mouths give me kind of the heebie-jeebies anyway. You know, you gotta definitely make sure you keep them super clean, and just, and then to be the one that would have to flush it out, no idea what I would experience at that point. I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. So they're working on getting us a date. I called yesterday. This is not a new doctor, but he is new-ish to their clinic. He's been there a year, so he doesn't have assigned surgical days. So she has to see what days he has permissions to do surgeries and get us a date. So we're still waiting on that, but we are this much closer. Pause for another ding. All right, and I'm back. I never left, but I cut out a clip there, I hope. So that's the big Ryan update, and I'm sorry that it was 30 minutes of all about Ryan, but that's my life. So, oh, and I told you about Floyd. Work. Why did I put work on my list? Work's good. I've been working a lot. We just got back a lot of some extra sites, so we're working even extra days. Work is requiring me to take a CPR class this weekend, so I'm off the next 2 days, but it's because I would either have to work all night, go straight to the class, and be tired, or go to the class, be tired, and have to go to work, or she could give me 2 days off. So, and we get paid. They're going to feed us lunch. It's whatever. Okay, that's my life updates as far as I know. Oh, I also bought school supplies yesterday. Not all of them, just some of them. And my daughter's going to middle school. And I'm seriously having the hardest time dealing with this information. But I bought her some stuff for her locker. I thought that was kind of fun. I feel like I don't get to update on her as often because Ryan's drama. But she is super addicted to diamond painting. I blame Stitcherista. I told her that if she will stick with this project, we've just bought a $30 kit at Michael's. If she will stick with this project, complete it, I will buy her the Heaven and Earth design project that she wants. So, stay tuned. Because, yeah. Okay. I do have haul. Sort of. I don't think it's all here. So, you will see some of it next video when I'm more organized. But I could go ahead and tell you I got some flosses from Joann's when they were on sale for July 4th. I may have already said that in a video. I got the first of the Songbird Garden series from Trishette Throughout Threads. I may have showed that too. I tried to go back and watch my last video and my service just bad. But the one thing I know that I've gotten since then is this. And let me say, I know you and your Flosstube rules. I don't care that I broke them, but I broke them because this thing came in the mail and I had to use it immediately. So, I bought one of the Bitsy Bobs from Kelly, from the Joan and Kelly show. Yeah. Michelle Bendy Stitchy showed it. I know she showed it in her video, but it was her post on, but before I even saw the video, her post on Instagram, I was like, okay, I'm back. They even set it off multiple times because they're driving so slow. Okay. So as soon as I saw it, it was something but I was like, you don't have to have it, Sam, and you could probably spend this money elsewhere, and, you know, whatever. I talked myself out of it. And then I saw Michelle's video, and I'm like, I really want it, so I bought one. And this, okay, so I'll be honest with y'all, because I like to be honest. When I went on there and they didn't have the fabric that Michelle had, or even a couple others that I had seen, I was a little disappointed. I was like, that's what I have to choose from. And so I chose this one because you could tell, like, this is all stitched. I didn't realize how cute it was till it got here. It was one of those things that looking at it on Etsy did not do it justice. And part of what is so cute, or makes me feel so happy that I ended up with this one rather than some of the other ones, is some of the stuff it says. You, my friend, are sweet as honey. Quilts are warm. Always be just you. To have a friend is to be a friend. Just all things grow with love. It's sweet. And then you can see I'm using it This is what mine looks like. So what I did was okay, this is how I store my floss. Isn't it? Dare to be different. So I make a card with the number and the symbol for each of the colors, and then I staple them together, so it's kind of like an accordion. And I stick the flosses in there. It's kind of like all the floss away bags in one because I didn't want to have to open 10,000 bags. So this is how I keep my floss. So now I just take this and I slide it in. I gotta take this off first. Just slide it in this little pouch. So what I've decided is this Bitsy Bob, at least until I get another one, will be for my focus piece, the one I work on every day, so that I don't have to worry about putting the threads up each evening after I work on it, especially when I'm only doing like 50 or 100 stitches and then I have to put everything back up. So and you'll see in a minute, the block that I'm working on for Christmas Rules, this is the only color I have left. I went my phone. Ugh, sorry about that. Which is why it's the only one here. But when I first started on it, it had like 5 colors in it, and I had, this camera's backwards. Okay. I had each of these full. And then there's a little magnet here where I had my scissors hanging. It works when it's laying down. These are a little bit well, this makes it a little too heavy to stick as I'm holding it up. And then I just have it all laid out on the counter like this in front of me. It just makes it really easy. And then I just close it, snap it, put it in there when I put my project up. So this thing is amazing. And because with this focus piece, it doesn't have a whole lot of colors at any given time. So I just went with the basic one, but I think I want more. More and more and more and more. And then, of course, she's got some really cute fabric in her shop right now. Oh, it's so hard not to just jump on and buy another one. So, that's kind of my haul. Sorry. I've got more coming, but a little bit at a time. Oh, that was one of the other things I told you I kind of lollygagged in San Antonio. They have an LNS. So, I told my husband, I said, since we're already there, can we go ahead and stop by? And he's like, yes, of course. And I had already spent my $100 budget for the month, or for the 2 weeks. That's our new thing. We each get $100 a paycheck to, it's not necessarily just for stitchy stuff. It's our play money. And then all the rest goes to, you know, necessities. But, so anyways, I'd already spent mine. I wasn't going to buy anything. I wanted to kind of see some flosses in person to decide which ones I wanted for a certain project, because I don't do a whole lot with specialty flosses. I didn't already have an idea. I needed something bright. I needed something variegated. That's all I knew. So we stopped by, and I wanted him to see what it was like. One of the reasons I get so excited about when I get to go to an LNS versus when I get to go to Joann's. And he was very gracious. He just kind of set up the fabric table and let me and the kids look around. And Lexi gets so excited about Nora Corbett's. She was bringing all these up to her dad and being like, look at this one, look at this one. He thought the models on the walls was amazing. He saw there was a Heaven and Earth Design one, full coverage of the nativity scene, that he was like, wow. That's just amazing. So it made me feel good. And then there was like a little taco cafe literally right next door, or 2 doors down. So we stopped and had lunch before we drove back. I did go ahead and buy the flosses because he didn't care. I was just buying 2 of them. But again, I don't have them with me. So that's it. That's it for that. Whips. I'm going to try and get this real quick because, man, I'm already at 40 minutes. Since I last saw you, I think... Oh, and I am missing 2 that ended up making it into my house. So you'll see those next time. That's Autumn Wreath and my Heaven and Earth design, mini Phantom of the Masquerade. But if you're on my Instagram, you've seen them. So. Upside down. Here's Foxglove. I'm going to talk about her more in just a minute. But adjusting to a new camera. Sorry. Here we go. She's getting nice and full down there. She's so pretty. There's that one. I also worked on, no, I didn't work on Quotes to Live By. Y'all have seen that one. Welcome to. This one is almost, I mean, super close to being halfway finished. That sounds funny. So, because it's a magazine pattern, and so this is one of the pages, and then there's the other page, and I started in the middle, I worked my way over, I went up, and then I just kind of filled out coming down. I was gonna go all the way across it, but then I didn't, so all the way down. So there's this bird, there's another bird here somewhere. Oh, that's his wing right there, or his tail, I think. And then the snow comes down a little bit further. So it'll probably come down to like here. But it's patchy. It's not full coverage like this. So the back stitching is done all the way down on this side. And then to here. So, and then it's only back stitching these. There might be some around the birds, but anyways. And then I just have to come and finish this half. So that one's got me really excited. Especially when it had such a slow start. Because, and Michelle, I was just telling you about this the other night. Because we were talking about how she orientated her, the Tiny Modernist Halloween thing wrong. So she's got like an inch. Okay, let me show you the back first. This is where I sewed on the fabric. Do you see? There's 3 stitches between 3 and 5. I don't exactly stitch straight, but between the edge and where I sewed the fabric on. So then I lost those squares, those X's. And then on the front, I'm going to get you in really close here. I can't see. See that stitch? It is right on the fabric. I didn't cut any off, but I mean, I went right up to the edge. And then, so what I did was I picked a fabric that, because I'm going to make this into a banner full finish for my front door. So I put on fabric that's going to go with it anyway. Look. Ooh. Lost some stitching right there. I'm going to have to fix that. Okay, so this is Leaves with Hollies, right? Look right there. Look right there. Isn't that awesome? So, so once I had a better idea of the entire design, I'll put some around the top and the bottom as well. And then I'll back it, maybe put some batting in the middle. So it'll be like a soft banner. Just saying. If you want to make it work, you can make it work. So, next, oh man, didn't put the floss back in there. Oh my goodness, so this is one of my Mania starts. I finished the Dragonfly during Mania. When I pulled this one back out the other day, I almost did not want to put it up. I think if out of any of my projects, if I'm going to monogamously stitch it until it's done, it would be Quotes to Live By or this one. And I just adore it. I didn't finish that L because I didn't have enough room. I would have had to move it in the Q-snap, and I didn't want to waste stitchy time by doing that. So then I came up and worked on the branch and that nice little variegation in the. I don't remember how it was charted. I do know that I bought the charted Weeks Dye Works for the tree because I felt like it was the most important to be variegated. Like, it should look variegated. Whereas all the rest, it didn't really matter. So, and I think I even changed some colors too, because in order to make it work on my fabric. This dragonfly though, man. I know you've seen it before because this was a Mania project and that's when I did the dragonfly, but it's so cute. And I love the letters. I just love it all. It's so pretty. It's coming out so great. This pattern was gifted to me, or past the stash from Brenda. She's in my Team Hades group right now. So, she's actually the one that asked me to join Team Hades. So, and the other night I pulled out a drink. Pulled out a drink. I think my allergies are trying to flare up because I've got a lot of drainage going on. Just straight back. Okay, I pulled out my other Nora Corbett, and which is Miss Lowly Daggerwing, and worked on her skirt some. So that's what I got done. But that was only 2 hours worth. I'm gonna explain in a second. So cute. So the other night when I was at work, I signed up for the Ultimate Cross Stitch group, the Lily Pad game, and the way it kind of sounded was like it'd be easier if I just stuck with one project the entire time. And so I was like, well, I'm working on my Heaven and Earth design every day. Well, I don't use Christmas rules because I'm using it for one of their other events. And I could, but I'm choosing not to. So that I'm working on more than just one thing. And then, so I was like, but I'm working on my Hade every day anyway for the 100 days of Hade. It'll be the word I work on. I didn't really think this through because the one I'm working on is Mini Treasure Hunt Bookshelf, which is like confetti hell. And of course they're giving us like 400 stitches. And so that night it was 300, plus I was at a busy site. So by the time I got my 300 done, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I stopped to eat, and then I pulled that out and started working on it. Well, when I pulled it out, I realized I hadn't kitted all the flosses for it yet. I don't know what the heck happened, but I only had like 2 flosses in there out of all of them. And so that's why I stuck with the one color the entire time, so that I didn't have to run out to the truck and get my thing of flosses and clip floss, because at that point, like I said, I only had really 2 hours to work on it. I didn't want to waste it going to get the floss. So that's what happened there. That's all my whips. I'm telling you, it really was not a lot for 2 weeks, but a lot has gone on. I also went and got a new computer. So, you know, I played with it a lot the first night. Like, I did my Heaven and Earth design, and I did my Christmas rules that night, but when I came to working on it, my son had taken my iPad out of the truck and didn't put it back in, so I didn't have my iPad to work on. I could work on them on my phone, but I was using my phone for internet to be able to play with my new computer. So, you know, life. And the lighting's getting really bad, so it keeps cutting in and out, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. This is where my Christmas rules is at. See, all I have is keep the schedule light, so that's why I only have the one color left. This one's running behind. I need to catch up like 4 or 5 days tonight. So it'll probably just, and it's 400 stitches on the Heaven and Earth design tonight. So it'll probably just be these 2 I work on and on another project. Okay, so I was giving myself a really hard time because I felt like I wasn't working on enough different projects. like, my whole goal was to touch on everything this month. And then I was like, who really cares? You're the only person that cares whether or not you touch every single project. I do make it a goal to make sure all my year of whips have been stitched on so that I can try and, you know, get some of those complete, because that's the whole point of year of whips. But outside of that, I'm not pushing myself. I'm stitching what I want to stitch when I want to stitch it. So, the only thing I'm sticking with is the fact that outside of my focus piece and my Heaven and Art design, I'm changing projects every night unless I can only work on those two. Work for you? Works for me. So, one last thing to talk. Oh, I got to show you the Heaven and Art design. The Mini Treasure Hunt bookshelf. I mean, this needs a shorter name because, seriously, that's where I'm at. I have finished two whole diagonals since starting the Heaven and Art design 100 Days of Hade challenge. Let's see, today is day 18. So in 18 days, I finished 2 complete rows. And I'm working on that one. I'm fixing to pull it out and work on that one. Right now, let's see if I can. Okay, so, spreadsheet. At this rate, I should definitely finish the page before the end of the 100 Days of Hate challenge. In fact, in order to complete it by the end, I only have to do 30 stitches a day to get it finished in time. So, out of 7,500 stitches, I'm at 5,100. So, my little tracker that Jessie helped me create because she's amazing. And those are all the squares that I finished. It's so awesome. So, I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do this. When I started out the challenge, I think I was at like 15.36 on my percentage for the whole thing, not for just the page. And now I'm at 17.06. So, it really does help me progress. Even if I, like, on a bad day, like Ryan going to the hospital, 1 or 2 stitches. In fact, I think it was actually 2 because I only had 2 left to finish out the block. Because what I was doing was I was coming and I was finishing out whatever block I hadn't finished the night before, and then I was stitching all the parked threads for the next block, and then stopping. And then the next day I would just have to do the whole pulling of those threads for the rest of that block, and then just work on. So I was essentially finishing a block every night. But sometimes that was 50 stitches, sometimes it was, 110. So, so I only needed the 2 stitches to finish the block. Now, I had to do 300 last night. I have to do 400 tonight. So, I'm going to get there really fast. And, okay, so last thing I wanted to talk about. Year of Whips. I signed up for Year of Whips at the end of 2017. And basically added all of my 2017 whips. Because I didn't have... The only thing I had carried over from a previous year was Mini Treasure Hunt bookshelf. So, all of everything that was, except for one of the admit animals, because I felt like that was kind of cheating and I could finish that quickly. So, I didn't even count it. I had 16 whips at the end of 2017, or 2017. Wow. So, I put them all in Year of Whips. The goal is to try and finish at least half. And when it comes to like the Heaven and Art designs, you have to decide, or each page finish, it counts as a finish. So, if you were like Jessie Marie, who was focusing on Hades, she put up a goal of page 2, page 8, I don't remember which pages she picked. I didn't really do that because I was only making my goal 1 page for each of them this year. And if I get more, then that's just more finishes, right? So anyway, I have finished a page on Phantom of the Masquerade, halfway finished with this one, and so all in all, I'm officially halfway done with all my year of whips. So I have completed the goal, the whole point for the year. But of course, I'm trying to see how many of those I can complete before December. And like, I psych myself out because I'm like, okay, that's only 6 more months, 5 more months at this point, and all of my projects are way too far away from a finish to even need to really worry about it, right? But honestly, who knows? I could get finishes on them, especially like quotes. If I could really dedicate a few days to quotes, I could get it finished. But then I'm like, I'm not going to change my work on something different each day just to complete it. But at least I make sure they get touched every month. So I put, Sal's in their places, and then I filled the rest of the top of the calendar with mirror whips, and then I work on anything that hadn't been worked on the month before, if anything, and then I just go down my list. So year of whips always gets worked on. And we had to do our update this month, which is part of the reason I brought it up, that I have completed half of my, oh, and I was going to say with Foxglove. So the one thing about updating, we don't update every month. We update 4 times a year, so every 3 months. Last update was in April. This update was in July. So when I looked at where I started the year at and where I'm at now with like Foxglove, or Foxglove is a good example. I'm just going to pull it out while I talk about it. It's amazing to see the amount of progress. I mean, it's one thing to just finish something, but to see, when I started the year, she had a head and hair. She had this orange loop here. She had like some golds and some browns over here, and some of her bodice. That was it. Now look. I know that most people would probably already have her done because they dedicate more than just an evening per month to stitching, but still, I'm amazed. Alright, I gotta let y'all go. My sun is almost gone. I need to put 400 stitches into this thing, and I think I'm up to almost 400 that I need to do for this thing, and I'm kind of hungry, so I have not decided yet if I'm vlogging this week or if I'm just going to be back next week for an update video. I'm not sure yet, so you'll know when I know, or you'll know when it gets posted. But thank you to all my subscribers, all those that stuck around. I did get a comment this week wondering where I was at, and I really appreciated that. It was the first time that's happened to me. So thank you to anybody new that come here. I am on Instagram. I'm trying to update every day. I'm getting better about it. I will try and be better about linking stuff below. So I hope you all have a great stitching week, and I will see y'all next time.